Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 2 in this series between StarTale's Bomber and Donregu. Game 2 here on Ohana. And I gotta admit, I did think that Donregu would have been able to take game 1 pretty convincingly just because it was on Daybreak. I think Daybreak has a slight advantage to Terran, to Zerg. That always seems to be the case whenever I watch games. And we'll see if that is the case here, as Bomber is now playing on Ohana against Donregu. Once again, this is taken from IPL 5, perhaps one of the most watched esports events. I think they said they had like 60 million views total, which was a very, very impressive feat to say the least. They were comparing it, I believe, to the World Series in America, and yeah, the World Series of baseball between the Detroit Tigers, I believe, and San Francisco Giants. I think outside of San Francisco and Detroit, not many people watched that particular series, since it wasn't from any of those New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox types of series, or any series with any teams with a lot of history like St. Louis or anything like that. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the strategy so far. Donregu doing a very good job making sure that there are no proxy barracks anywhere on the map. You can tell by the Overlord positioning that he is really aware that a Bomber may actually try to go for something a little bit more sneaky. This time around, though, we see Donregu actually opening up with a much more traditional build. Last game, he had that very early spawning pool for that group of Zerglings, but the Zerglings didn't do much. Bomber building his barracks in such a position where he could actually build a command center, played a little bit more macro heavy, and it almost felt like Bomber actually came out ahead out of the early game. But Donregu was actually able to capitalize in the end, as we now see Bomber establishing up his own command center. So this is going to be a 1 racks expand coming in from Bomber, and we'll see what Donregu does to respond. Donregu, I believe this is going to be exactly 16 drones, or will be 16 drones in just a moment. And then after that, which should saturate this space at 16 drones as well. Most Zerg players do agree that you want 16 drones per base, and if you have more than 16, then you start saturating another base. That seems to be the case. So 16 plus an additional 6 is 22. Is it? Yeah, 16 plus 6 is 22 there. So that's how many drones are normally in a base for Zerg players, just because Zerg players want the additional hatchery, and if you want the additional hatchery, might as well build it near some minerals. Now, Bomber is doing a much more traditional long-term game strategy. He is building triple racks. He should be getting up a second refinery soon. I'm actually a bit surprised that he doesn't have that up just quite yet. He may just be going into a tech lab, as we now see the Marines getting overzealous, want some target practice against a supply depot that is currently lowered. That will get taken down with little to no effort. Now, we are going into a reactor, so Bomber actually very heavy in terms of just mass marine production, so a bit surprised there. We'll see how that's going to work out for him. Still only running off of 1 gas, going to be able to train up quad marines, and I would have suspect that he would have added a tech lab sooner, just to either get combat shield or stim pack a little bit earlier, just in case there's any sort of early aggression. Now, I do like how Bomber places his bunkers. 1 bunker here. He could put another bunker here. And what it does is it actually has these bunkers covering each other with a fair amount of running space in between. The Zerglings are going to see that there is nothing. They're going to try to run in, quickly take some damage from this one particular bunker, and then back away once more, as Bomber now adding in a secondary wall at the top of his ramp. Let's take a look at Donregu. Donregu's strategy is actually going into a 6 queen strategy, perhaps expecting a lot of Hellions. Another benefit of this 6 queen strategy is how quickly you are going to see this creep spread. The creep spread is going to be taking over about 50 to 70% of the map by, I believe, the 10 to 12 minute mark. We're going to see creep tumors all over the place, and it's going to be very difficult for Bomber to actually try and engage in any particular location. Now that Donregu is establishing up his third base, he should be in a very good position here. Let's take a look at his drone count. Yes, he's at 17 here, so he should be trying to start transferring drones to his third base once more. And Donregu is just really happy in playing a very macro-centric game. Perhaps Donregu is going to be going into that Infestor Broodlord strategy, as we now finally see a third, another gas being taken down over here. Alright, so we are going to be running up on 3 bases. A new command center now being built by Bomber. Hellions are moving their way out. Combat Shield is being researched now. Timing on it is just perfect, as the Marines will be moving out with Combat Shield. That additional 10 hit points does add a lot of damage that the Marines can deal just because they're alive for that much longer. Hellions now making their way forward. You can see creep tumors are now down. Are we going to perhaps see a scanner sweep? There we go. And that is a lot of creep tumors to try and clean up. Bomber should really be going after the scanners, or going after these other ones here, as the Marines are going to be falling. Are we going to get some transfusions? Beautiful transfusions there, as wow, the group of Marines are simply don't care, and they're just going to make their way in. Zerglings trying to make their way in. Marines and Hellions backing it up. And Donregu perhaps not expecting the sheer amount of damage that this Marine Hellion ball is going to be doing. Even with so many queens and so many transfusions, not going to be enough, as Donregu's drones are simply getting torched. A beautiful attack while defending strategy here, as the Marines are going to be dealing a devastating blow to Donregu. 34 drones to 46 SCVs. And now, even the evolution chambers are going to fall, meaning a lot of research time is lost. Zerglings now trying to reinforce here. Metabolic boost has been completed. More queens are being added. Drones and queens coming off. Is it going to be enough? And there is no real sustaining power in this push. Bomber just moved out, hoping to deal a lot of damage, and that he did. You can see the amount of resources lost, as Bomber takes a huge lead in terms of overall losses. All right. Things are looking incredibly good right now for Bomber. Bomber now going to be transitioning into 1-1 upgraded Marines with double training on the reactor starport for a lot more medevacs. And Overlord tries to make its way in, and it's purposely building an armory right underneath, and that has to perhaps make Donregu a little bit more concerned, knowing that 2-2 upgrades are going to be coming in. I don't know if you guys realize that, but Donregu losing his 2 evolution chambers, or sorry, losing one of those evolution chambers, really hurts him in the long run. Before, he was about even or on par in terms of the upgrade war. Now he's going to be significantly behind in the upgrade war, as he's now just starting his level 1 melee upgrades, as level 1 weapons upgrade is about to be completed for Bomber. Is this Overlord going to be able to drop creep in time? That is the question. Oh, drop creep. Is it going to? Yes, it. Oh, no, it does not. A split second too late. And Bomber is going to actually be able to start harvesting at this third base. Now, this is the power of Zerg being able to get back up to 64 drones after losing 22. But that does mean his army is significantly smaller. Let's take a look at the larva count. There is only 8 larvae now. Marines now will be able to shoot down this Overlord with little to no effort, as a factory is actually being floated out. Oh, that is a bit of a concern for me. Bomber is really heavily relying on bio in order to take down or deal damage to his opponent. Bomber, actually, by flying over this factory, is telling Donregu, I'm not going to be going siege tanks. That means Zergling and Baneling compositions are going to be much more effective. Also, Infestors will be much more effective, as Infestors won't get destroyed from a range of 13. Now, we do see 7 Infestors being added, 8 Infestors being added. We are going to perhaps see a drone and now grow up off over here. And what are these medevacs going to be doing? There is an Overlord right in position, but I believe the response time is not going to be fast enough. as we now see a double Marine drop, one here and one here. There's only a handful of Marines here, though, so this should be able to be easily cleaned up, as we now see perhaps an elevator drop up onto the high ground. All right, there's a fungal growth. That's one dead group of units, and here is another dead group of units. Bomber actually losing a lot in that engagement without really dealing that much damage. Not a good exchange at all, but he also took the time to move out with a group of Marines in the front. Are we going to perhaps see another fungal growth? Infestors are on the field in addition to Baneling. Baneling Infestor, just what the doctor ordered in order to take down Bomber's units here. Bomber now looking to back away. Are we perhaps going to see this factory landing? It is not going to be landing, as we already have creep pretty much halfway across the field. It is going to be slowly receding, though, as many of the creep tumors were destroyed just moments ago. Alright, a new hatchery has been placed down. Factory off over here. We now see Zerglings trying to engage. This creep needs to get regenerated and in a hurry if Don Regu really wants to place down some pressure, as another double medevac drop now looking to come straight in. There is one Marauder here, and now in comes the Banelings. Oh, that is going to be very, very a bad drop there, as Bomber, who has a 50 supply advantage, is having a difficult time trying to really do anything with it. Another medevac cleanup here. It looks as though more Marines are going to get taken down. Two infested Terrans clean that up, as the Marines just don't know how to deal with the very, very fast-moving Zerglings and Banelings. Infestors moving, how fast is that? 293? Okay, so almost as fast as a Stalker, as we now see Marines and Marauders coming back over here. The Zerglings should be able to clean this up. Where is that fungal growth? As now we see a very, very large attack here. A little bit of a good bait by Bomber to pull away the Infestors in order to engage. What are we going to be seeing here as the Infestors? Are they going to be able to get off some fungal growth? Yes, they are. Banelings trying to melt along the top side. Alright, I hate when that happens. As the Infestors are now trying to make their way over as well. So far, the Marines, very, very low on hit points. Are the Infestors going to try to re-engage? The medevacs are all split up. Bomber has about a 20 supply advantage, as infested Terrans are now making their way out. Alright, here we go next. There's some fungal growth. Bomber's attack is going to get melted. Is the hatchery going to go down? It does not look like it, as the medevacs are now going to just get chain fungal growth to death here. Wait, what's happening? Why aren't these infested Terrans shooting? I don't know. Back over here, Bomber is going to spot a hatchery now being placed down. This hatchery was once again destroyed, canceling those larvae, and now the Zerglings are pushing forward. Don Regu has made a very, very strong comeback here. Infestors, are they going to be able to get off a fungal growth? One Infestor does get taken down. Is this Infestor going to be able to get off a fungal growth? No, it does not, as the Zerglings are now cleaning up Marines. Hatchery now getting re-established. Meanwhile, Bomber now has a 4-base to 4-base advantage, or will have a 4-base to 4-base advantage. Harvester count is 72 to 70, and Bomber should be able to replenish his forces much more quickly. The problem is that these Infestors have been, or Infestors have been trading so efficiently, and they're also able to regather more energy once again. Oh, another medevac drop here. Medevac, down they go once more, as the Marines and Marauders are now pushing in again. There are 4 medevacs here. Are the Zerglings actually going to be able to do anything, as the Banelings now making their way over? Infestors trying to follow it up, and there goes another Marauder at the hands of a Baneling. Got to be one of the worst ways to go, getting melted to death by acid. Alright, medevacs off here, able to get off some even more kills, but wasn't able to do all too much, as the Zerglings are still swarming, waiting for the medevacs to drop some presents. There we go. Medevacs, fungal growth, drones are getting cleaned up again, as we now see another pressure coming in from Bomber. Bomber is doing everything right to try to limit the number of bases that Don Regu can run on, but is he trading efficiently? I don't believe so, as we now see Zerglings are now coming in to surround. More infested Terrans being added. Are the eggs going to be able to do a lot of damage? Are those Marines going to get taken down? It looks as though, as another hatchery is destroyed. Another drop coming in over here at the 10 o'clock position. Constant pressure, but he's still not trading that efficiently. Zerglings going to be able to just come in now and perhaps get the necessary surround. It looks like one Marine or Medivacs will be escaping away again. And now in comes another bit of pressure over here. Medivacs without anything. Oh, Corruptors could catch them. That is going to be huge. What is Don Regu doing? He's actually moving away with the Corruptors instead of engaging. Could have taken down 2 easy Medivacs. Once again, in comes another drop. There's some infested Terrans. There's some fungal growth. And there is another failed drop attempt by Bomber. Losses are now actually in favor of Don Regu as another Medivac does fall. This hatchery is once again canceled. One Marine here. As we see, Zerglings are just hiding underneath. Bomber sitting at 69 SCVs compared to 64 for drones for Don Regu. Infestors making another move out. A new hatchery being placed down. This drone is going to grow up and try and be another hatchery. Is it going to be able to do so as these Zerglings are going to get cleaned up once again? Another Medivac, just a Medivac escort on the move. Infestors may actually catch this in transit, and if it does catch this in transit, that is going to be huge. All right, oh, does the quick scanner sweep, does spot this. The Corruptors may actually go after this, and that might be the case. Marines and Marauders still moving together. Are those Medivacs going to fall? No, they are not. No Mutalists in the group, meaning that the Corruptors are not going to be moving all too quickly. Greater Spire is up. Infestor Broodlord combination could be coming in just a moment. Zerglings now going to be wandering around. And oh, an entire tightly packed group of bio for all of these Infestors. And this base will be falling rather quickly. Alright, what's going to be happening over here? Broodlords and fungal growth, meaning that all of these Marines are outside of range. That is going to be absolutely horrible as we now see a planetary fortress taking a little bit of damage. Is it going to actually fall? It may actually fall here in just a moment as it is starting to burn. Meanwhile, another attack. The third base of Don Regu is falling. Both sides just exchanging blows back and forth. And a beautiful, beautiful beautiful counterattack here still wandering around. Marines now trying to make their way in. It looks like Bomber is going to have a very, very devastating attack. But no, a couple of Medivacs get caught out of position. Broodlords are in the air. Let's take a look at the army composition. Army is larger for Don Regu. 53 drones to 52 SCVs. A new orbital command now trying to make its way in. Don Regu needs to hold on to this hatchery. That is pretty much his only lifeline at this point to any additional resources. Planetary Fortress off here has it finally been spotted? Yes, it has finally been spotted. And now Don Regu's heart's going to sink just a little. Zerglings unable to get underneath. What is going to be happening here? Vikings are nearby. There's a fungal growth catching a couple here. There's some snipe damaging all of those Infestors. And the Broodlords are not going to make it in time. Alright, there are the Manor Mules as Don Regu says GG. That does mean we are going into a Game 3 in this best of 3 series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it.